My parents asked that I reschedule my wedding so my sister could get engaged, so I told her fiancé about her secret texts with her ex. Parents threatened to cut me off. I need your input on this long-considered matter. I am 28 and engaged to my 30-year-old boyfriend Jake for 8 months. The planning for our October wedding was going well until my parents surprised us last week. I have a 25-year-old younger sister, Mia. Our family has always favored her. She dates her lover, Tom, 26M, for over 2 years. Our parents have always loved Mia and treated her like queen in practically every aspect of our lives. Not to be bitter, but I've always felt like I succeeded more than Mia in some areas but was never recognized. I played volleyball and got straight A's throughout high school, while Mia cheered. Her achievements outshone mine. I know cheering deserves the same, recognized as other sports. But would it have killed my parents to support me? I got used to my absent parents and expected little from them. Mia and I became estranged. Despite knowing she wasn't responsible, my adolescent self blamed her for everything. Only after meeting Jake, my life partner in college, did my worldview change. He made me realize I deserved love and care like everyone else. Jake showed me that I was unique, and if others didn't see it, I did. They lost their achievements. I also understood it was unjust to blame Mia when our parents were to blame, so I tried to restore our sisterhood. I started checking in with her more and telling her she could talk about anything. Initially, she was cautious. She eventually felt comfortable talking to me. No matter how frivolous or serious, we discussed almost anything. Even if our hobbies and life choices differed, I was glad that our relationship was strengthening and that we were finally becoming sisters. Always wished. She was the first to know when Jake proposed. She was excited to help me plan my wedding, just like me. Everything appeared fine at the moment, so when my mother called this Wednesday, I was very surprised. The call started simply. Mom asked about wedding preparations, which was rare for her. I should have noticed anything. Her message was made after a few minutes of light talk. Tom and Mia are engaged. I was pleased when she stated this. My sister was marrying what? Could improve. But then I remembered my mother's advice about becoming engaged. That confused me. Mom explained that Mia had told her that Tom had been hinting at proposing, asking her ring size, and telling her to buy a new outfit. These were obvious signs, but Mia liked to romanticize everything and make it seem better than it was. I didn't want Mia to be disappointed after high expectations. Mom said yes when I questioned if she was sure Tom was proposing. I anticipated the call to end here, but there was another surprise. I would not be satisfied this time. My mother encouraged me to cancel my wedding because Tom and Mia were engaged. Shocked, I asked her to clarify, thinking I misunderstood. She was dead serious. Wedding cancellation? Jake and I waited 10 months to have our dream wedding and wouldn't compromise. We had paid caterers and other firms in advance. Moving things back a year would cost a lot and be difficult to reschedule. Not sure what happened over Mom and Dad, but they offered to pay for the venue when we ran out. I thought they did it to compete with Jake's parents, but I was too focused on my parents' increased interest in me to notice their vengeance. That's not the worst. You haven't heard why I should postpone my wedding for a purported engagement. Mia wanted her engagement photos and social media announcements to be the center of attention for a year, Mom said, completely perplexed. Who makes sister cancel wedding and lose money on immaterial social media? I told Mom I wouldn't publish about my wedding anyplace, but she insisted that if I didn't postpone, they would withdraw all the wedding money. They were blackmailing me because their precious youngster sought attention. I told my mother this was dumb and unfair. She fought me for a time, saying I was selfish and inconsiderate to Mia. I kept questioning her about my feelings, but she merely said they wouldn't pay for the venue if I did. I was outraged. This was undeserved. I'd sacrificed my life for Mia, and now, just as I was about to have my dream day, it was taken away. Out of frustration and wrath, I did what I never thought I would. I told Mia's fiancé Tom something he didn't know about her. When everything was great, Jake and I went on a double date with Mia and Tom. It was rare that we all had time together, and I was thrilled. Laughter and stories made things seem terrific again. Mia and I took a nighttime bathroom break. While Mia gave me her phone to hold as she washed her hands while applying makeup. Texts emerged on the screen suddenly. Like asked whether they might meet again. Heart misses a beat. Although I knew Mia had dated Mike, I figured he was over it. I had to ask Mike who he was and why he wanted to meet again. Mia wiggled immediately. She dismissed it as an old friend reaching out. However, I saw her anxiety in her eyes. I inquired again about her relationship with Mike. She said there was some texting but nothing serious. She said Tom didn't need to know about it and rolled her eyes when I asked. Tom seemed lovely and loved Mia, but I don't care what my sister does, so I couldn't shake the unease. Mia told me she stopped talking to her ex, so I let it go. When Mia tried to steal my happiness, my thoughts went haywire, and I told Tom everything about the text I read that day when I called Tom. Not enough?
I warned him.
He should watch his girlfriend. Now I see my mistake. Not telling Tom the truth, but how I did it. Now it's too late. 2 days after I spoke with Tom, my mother called again, and I was glad I wasn't there. She was screaming like a crazy, like a disaster had occurred. However, her remarks impacted me. I erred greatly. Tom reportedly called Mia to talk. Mia dressed up thinking she was engaged. Tom was outraged when she came. He told her what I stated and asked whether it was true. Tom asked for her phone after she denied it. She grew protective, encouraging him to trust her. Tom broke up with Mia. My parents would never forgive me. In the background, Mia and Mom were swearing and shouting. I apologized and explained that I did it because they told I had to cancel my hard-worked wedding. My father retracted the venue deposit. I felt like I'd lost everything. Any wedding, my parents, and Mia. I knew Jake would have been mad at me after hearing what happened. I tried to call Mia to discuss it, but she didn't answer or acknowledge my SMS. Jake was on a business trip and didn't know our wedding was threatened by me. The stress was intense, and I felt horrible about damaging Mia's relationship, even though it wasn't my fault. Once Jake returned from his business trip, I told him everything. I was relieved when he was supportive and vowed to sort things out. He helped me understand that I was being honest and should have done so earlier. Jake and I decided to proceed. The wedding, despite having to minimize costs. We considered saving methods. We told friends and family and asked for help. Unexpectedly, one of Jake's buddies used one of his contacts to locate us a great, affordable venue. I'm fine with delaying the wedding a bit longer given the situation. I tried to reach my folks constantly. I'm not sure why I did it, but I was frightened of disappointed. I was drowning in guilt over my parents. Their stubbornness persisted. They wouldn't attend my wedding if it went well. Things fell into place as wedding plans progressed despite hurdles. We learned that numerous of my family members are SVPs who would not go or did not respond. Without Sherlock Holmes, I could tell the news had spread. My aunt said Mom and Mia painted me as a soap opera villain who lied to spoil her sister's happiness. They also revised the story, saying Mia was engaged and going to married, but later. I wanted attention after getting engaged. Ignoring me was different from lying about my character. I'm exhausted. I couldn't have a wedding where I looked and felt my best after everything that transpired. I can't let my parents rule me like they have my whole life. They say I ruined Mia's life and was envious and angry. Mia's heartbroken. She hasn't spoken to me since the incident, and I feel awful but know I did the right thing. Ida, please don't postpone my wedding and tell Mia's lover about her infidelity. Update 1. After posting a few days ago, the backlash has been intense. My parents are talking to me, but not for the reasons you might assume. They want me to apologize to Mia and settle with Tom. They threatened to disown me if I didn't comply. Jake has been supportive, telling me we did the right thing and should focus on our wedding. Mia ultimately reached out. She was furious and accused me of ruining her life and happiness for spite. The conversation was hard. I tried to clarify my point, but she argued that I had no right to intrude in her relationship, no matter what she did. Without passion, I questioned her who gave her the right to influence my wedding planning, which began before she was engaged. She ended the call before I could discuss her and her mother's lies about me. As family, conflict spread quickly, and Meg called unexpectedly. I hadn't heard from my childhood friend in years. After Meg left for college, we only communicated via social media. However, Mia and her friendship lasted into their early 20s. Meg reported another shocking Mia infidelity incident a year ago. It was Meg's 25th birthday. Mia was. She was there without Tom, her then boyfriend, who was apparently on a trip as the night proceeded and everyone got drunk. Meg noticed Mia flirting more with male guests, including her boyfriend. Mia had always flirted, so Meg assumed that was normal. As guests departed the celebration, Meg realized she hadn't seen Mia or her partner in a while. They were captured in another room. Since Mia and Tom had dated for 2 to 3 years, this was highly scandalous. She added to Meg's suffering. It astonished me that Tom didn't know this for so long. Why did no party member tell him? The incident ended Meg and Mia's friendship. After learning everything, Meg thought I should know Mia did nothing by accident. She was used to this and always got away with it. I was amazed by new information. Mia committed adultery repeatedly. I just requested that Meg notify Tom immediately. I have reasons. My fiancé visited Tom, who was also sick. He was probably blaming me for believing what I said, even if he didn't say it. It would be better if someone else delivered this terrible news. I didn't want to fuel my jealousy against Mia by doing it. After hearing from Meg, Tom wanted to talk in person. I concurred. I wanted to solve the problem or clear the air. He seemed stunned when we met in a nearby coffee shop. Information from Meg was only for another shockwave, but he was relieved and felt he had made the right choice. Tom also described his breakup with Mia. Mia was right to think Tom would propose. He confronted Mia about her infidelity after our conversation, and she confessed. He was heartbroken but appreciated my honesty. He said he'd rather know the truth now than after they married. He said he had felt something was wrong with their relationship but couldn't pinpoint it until I did. Phoned. After a long conversation, Tom said he would grieve and rethink his life. He thanked me for telling him the truth, no matter how hard. This conversation gave me closure because I knew I had done the right thing by being honest with Tom. My family is still struggling. My parents still agree with Mia that I was wrong and must apologize. I focused on Mia's pain and ignored the fact that she was the cheater, and they don't understand why. Friends and extended family who knew about the issue also supported her. Many were amazed by my parents' conduct and applauded me for standing up for justice. I felt many emotions, but I'm glad for people who understand me. I'm staying upbeat and planning my wedding. Despite my parents' threats, Jake and I will persevere. We've adjusted the budget and are looking for ways to make the wedding special without their money. Assistance. I know the drama won't end, but I'll stand firm. I no longer let my parents' bias and my own actions control me. I must focus on my happiness and future with Jake. Hi everyone, update 2. My life keeps getting more difficult. Events changed drastically 4 days following my first report. I thought things couldn't get worse, but they did. Jake contacted me urgently while I was working and trying to focus. He sounded worried and told me to go home immediately. I ran, fearing something bad happened. I saw Jake was upset when I arrived. A note shoved under the door was handed to me. The lawyer representing my parents sent it. After Mia's breakup, they threatened to sue me for defamation and mental distress. Shocked. I was being sued by my parents. The letter explained how my actions had traumatized Mia and damaged her reputation. It wanted a public apology and withdrawal of my comments about Mia's infidelity and hefty payout. My parents have gone to extremes to be vengeful. I read the letter. My phone vibrated. It was Mia. I picked up after she kept calling, hoping for answers. Mia's voice sounded angry and depressed. She raged at me, saying I destroyed her life and she had nothing left. She said she lost her job when Tom told their friends and coworkers about her infidelity. The word had gone viral, making her the subject of rumors and ridicule. She was fired for being difficult. I think Mia got what she deserved after my parents' legal scare. I attempted to convince her to take responsibility for her actions, but she was inconsolable. She called me envious and resentful, saying I wanted her to fail. The chat left me drained and hopeless. Jake and I debated our options all night. We could not afford a court battle with my parents, but we couldn't let them win. Intimidate us into submission. They probably knew we were already balancing our wedding funds and that this legal battle would just solidify it. I sought legal advice the next day. The circumstances shocked him, but he told me we had a strong case. He suggested gathering evidence of Mia's infidelity and its effects on Tom. He advised us to prepare a counterclaim if my parents followed through on their threats. During this, Tom's mother called again, surprising me. She wanted to thank me for notifying Tom about the event. She added, something Tom was disappointed yet glad to know before committing lifelong. She also said Tom would move to a new city to start over. Her call provided a little break from the chaos. I realized that being honest was the correct thing to do, despite the immediate consequences. My parents and Mia could do what they wanted, but they were wrong. Saturday brought another drastic change. My parents unexpectedly visited us. Furious, they wanted to talk to me. Jake tried to keep them calm, but the situation escalated quickly. Shouting match. My father blamed me of ruining the family, while my mother cried and begged me to fix Mia. They continually threatened to cut me off financially and sue if I didn't comply. I refused to bend to pressure. I informed them that Mia's actions had consequences and would not apologize for telling the truth. My parents fled the argument, vowing to sue. The next 3 days were filled with legal debates and emotional turmoil. Jake and I tried to organize our wedding, but the anxiety was too much. We started getting communications from extended family members supporting or criticizing my behavior after learning about the incident. I hate bringing Jake in the drama since he doesn't deserve it, but I appreciate his support. I received a shocking message from Meg, a childhood friend, telling me about Mia's infidelity. She offered a statement about her party, which could be crucial if my parents sued. With Meg's support and the facts we were gathering, I felt hopeful. This war was far from over, but I would stand my ground and fight for justice. Thank you for being my support system right now. It was hard, but you gave me perspective. I'll see everyone later. Update 3: after a few days, the issue has boiled over. Mia and my parents insisted on meeting to discuss everything. In person. Jake and I agreed, hoping this meeting would resolve everything. We met at home to manage the environment and avoid a spectacle. When my dad and Mia arrived, anxiety was palpable. I saw enthusiasm in their eyes as they sat down. They believed I would apologize and beg forgiveness. However, I would not retreat. I addressed the elephant in the room. I told them I knew why everyone was here today, but before we continue, I don't apologize. Let me present the facts. Mia and my parents looked confused, clearly unprepared. I breathed deeply and began my argument. The adultery from months ago was my starting point. I asked Mia if she handed me her phone during our double-date dinner, and she was talking to her ex-boyfriend Mike, despite being in a serious relationship with Tom. I added that she said it was a one-time mistake. It wasn't true. We both knew. Right? Mia paled and squirmed uncomfortably in her seat. I showed proof in a folder. I told her I chatted with Meg, who hosted last year's party. Mia was detected cheating on her lover, she said. The habit of behavior led to this error. Delivered Meg's written statement. When my parents and Mia saw it, they were confused and shocked. There was more. Removed more proof. Mia had no idea I had text messages from her to Meg confessing to infidelity and begging her not to tell Tom. These texts were time-stamped, leaving no room for question. Place printed messages on the table. My mother gasped as my father's face flushed with wrath, this time at Mia, not me. The letter and Tom's statement followed. After our conversation, he confronted Mia and you confessed. He also recounted how her adultery affected him emotionally, which made him not propose. Parents were speechless. They stared at the documents, unable to dispute the overwhelming evidence. Mia cried. She kept quiet, cognizant of the gravity of the situation. Lawsuit discussion follows. I told my parents they would sue me for slander, pain and suffering. However, the data proves my claim. They had no legal standing. If this persisted, I had a strong lawsuit case. The room was quiet. My parents and Mia were shocked as they processed the reality. I was relieved after a while. I knew I had finally spoken up. I finally assured Mia that I wasn't doing this for spite or jealousy. I did this because it was right. Mia must take responsibility for her actions. My wedding message was simple, it was on time. Jake and I will marry regardless of their support, and no one will damage our relationship. Happiness. I stood up to stop the talk, expecting it would be a turning point for us. I left the room satisfied. I knew there would be more challenges, but for the first time in a while, I felt in control. My parents and Mia can sue, but they know I'll confront them and nothing good will come of it. Our friends and extended family support Jake and me in our new life. We knew healing with my family and sister would be lengthy and tough, but we were ready to do it together. Standing up for myself and doing the right thing brought me the tranquility I had been seeking.